I'm going to show you how to cut a multi-aperture mount, and we won't be using any of the stops on the machine, so it'll all be hand drawn, hand cut. First thing you have to do is mark the board out. We're going to have 4 windows which are 90mm square, 20mm between, with a 50mm border all the way around. So first thing we're going to do is mark it out. We can use the machine as a drawing board. And the first thing I'm going to do is draw the outer line. So on the back of the board, again, propelling pencil. Now we have our windows are going to be 90mm, so our next mark is going to be the 50mm plus the 90, which is 140. So we set the mat guide to 140mm. Because it's all symmetrical, we can go around and do all 4. Obviously, with windows of different sizes and combinations, it can actually take longer to draw it out than it does to actually cut it. We've now got our basic design. To help us keep track of what we're cutting, we need to mark our fallouts. And here we have a line where we're going to be making 2 cuts, so we need to be knowing where we're starting and stopping. So I like to put a mark in the start and stop points. Just makes it a lot easier referencing where you've got to start and stop. There's nothing worse than trying to eyeball your finish point, just realising you've just gone right past it. Now, to start the cutting, I'm going to start on the inside, back this right off. So I'll take that right off so it's not in the way. Going to start by doing the inside cuts first. I'm lining the pencil line about 1 millimetre off the edge of the cutting bar, because when the blade comes down, it's cutting about 1 millimetre away. You can just touch the blade on the pencil line to make sure it's in the right place. The other thing to make sure is your fallout is under the cutting bar. If you can see the fallout, it means your bevel is going to be going the wrong way. So as long as your fallout is under the bar, your bevel is going to be going the right way. For this method of cutting without using the stops, I'm using a notch reference, which is a little engraved cut into the blade cartridge, and that notch is the reference. And basically what I've found is that I'm about 2 millimeters off. The notch is about 2 millimeters off. And what I do is put a little bit of tape on the edge of the cartridge and just put a little pencil line 2 millimeters away from the notch. And then I'm using that pencil line as my marker against my lines on the board. Rather than trying to put the blade all the way through the board to start with, I'm just going to do a couple of little gentle notches to take it about halfway through the board, so you've got a little more precision on timing the inserting the blade so it hits your pencil line. Just takes a little bit of practice, but you soon get into the swing of it. Line it up again. And that should be all our internal cuts done. So now we just need to go around the outside. Insert it into the bevel. You don't need any effort. The centre of the blade is very sharp. Let the bevel take the angle and just pull it into the corner. So be very careful because the blade's very sharp. And you only need very light pressure. Again, it all seems to be, it's the same cut, it's the bottom of the cut that I'm just slightly undercutting on. So if you're doing it again, you just need to go a little further, about 1 millimetre further, probably less than 1 millimetre, just to complete the cut. There we go.